So when I was about 10 years old and my brother was 12, we were at my uncle's house, and he had told us, hey, if you guys wax the boat today, I'll take you out to Lake Boyd tomorrow. So I got on one side, my brother got on the other. We grabbed our buckets, we grabbed our rags, the soap, and we just got to cleaning. After about 20 to 30 minutes, my uncle comes back out, and he just starts laughing at us, and he says, guys, she's looking pretty rough. If you really want it to get clean, you're going to have to put some elbow grease into it. So I grabbed my rag, and he left, and my brother's on his side, and I'm scrubbing as hard as I could. I'm pushing on it. I'm leaning on it. And the next thing you know, on the bottom of my boat, I see my brother. We make brief eye contact for a moment, but then he starts looking. He's looking, and he's looking. I can't figure out what he's doing. But he goes back to his side, so I don't think anything of it. So I'm still scrubbing as hard as I can. I'm putting pressure on it, getting into it. And then I see him this time on the nose of the boat. And we, again, make brief eye contact, and he's looking, and he's looking. So finally, I'm like, Rafa, what are you looking for? And he walks up to me, and quietly and calmly, he just says, hey, Ruben, where'd you put the elbow grease at? And I just immediately, I fell on the floor, and I'm laughing, and I'm dying, and I can't wait to tell my dad, because I know my dad's going to make fun of him. And so when they asked me to do this, I knew I wanted to tell that story. And so me and Tanis were talking, and she said, Ruben, well, why did you know what elbow grease was and your brother not? I don't think I have a definitive answer, but I at least have a road that explains why. When my parents were 14, they found out that they were pregnant with my brother. Providing for a child at 15, it's difficult stuff. You see, babies, they require diapers, they require food, they require car seats, strollers, all that good stuff. And at 15 years old, you can't get a job. You got to be 16 to work. So my parents would have to do odd jobs to get money to provide for the baby. Another difficult thing was you have to be 16 to drive. So now imagine trying to get to and from doctor's appointments, to and from the grocery store to provide diapers and bottles and all that good stuff. So as kids do, they make decisions that affect the rest of their life. And that's where I come into the story. At 17 years old, my parents had 2 kids, and things were only going to get a little more difficult. My mom was going to have to make a difficult choice in the next year. You see, they found out that me and my brother were going to have a sister, except this time it wouldn't be from my mom. And so this eventually led to my parents separating. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, this was a great thing for me. This led to the foundations and the cornerstones of my success. You see, my mom, she taught me one huge thing. She taught me love. No matter what, my mom always loved me. She always cared for me, and she did things for me that nobody else could. She was always there for me. She just supported me, my siblings, and she sacrificed her childhood to give us what she didn't have. And then my dad. Loving wasn't the first thing that described a man in his culture. It was hard work. So I used to hate going over to my dad's. I hated it with everything that I was, probably until I was about 20 years old. When I was younger, it felt like we were always working. From the time I can remember, we were always just busy, moving. We were always in the yard building fences. We were always throwing rock, laying sod, mowing the lawns, trimming the trees. And I hated it because my mom, she loved us and supported us, not made us work every single day. And then my dad, he didn't love us and support us, and he just made us work all the time. And so, but now that I'm older, I'm grateful for that. I understand it so much more because, again, he never taught us hard work. He just modeled it. He showed us what it was to work hard. And thankfully, I got something out of that. I copied my work ethic from that, and I put it into who I am. So fast forwarding, I'm about 17 years old, second semester of my senior year, and things are looking pretty rough. I have a 2.3 GPA. I'm not on track to graduate, and graduation's right around the corner. again, thankfully to my mom, who loved and supported me, she talked to my counselor, and I went in and seen my counselor, and we worked something out. I was going to somehow magically graduate, and things were going to be good. That summer, something changed, though. Something just clicked into place. I got selected to be a counselor at the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards Conference. So when I was a junior, I had been selected to go, and so I went, and it's a group of 180 kids your age, and you do leadership activities. You hear people speak about leadership. And so that summer, I got to be one of the counselors there, though. And so I'd get to mentor about 10 kids of my own and work with peers my age. These peers taught me something. They changed who I was as a person. They challenged the way I talked, they challenged the way I walked, and they challenged the way I thought. In the span of 1 week, my life had changed because of these other people. You see, when I was younger and growing up, I thought I was just going to work a job. I was going to provide a steady income from a steady job because that's what my parents did, and that's what everyone else I knew did. And so I always thought I was just going to work at King Soopers the rest of my life. Things changed at this camp. I changed as a person. So at the end of the all good things must come to an end. So at the end of the conference, I'm talking to another counselor. Her name was Kelsey Guyette, and she tells me, she says, "Ruben, you have to go to school." And I'm like, "Nah, I'm probably not going to go to school." Because remember, a couple weeks ago, I wasn't even going to graduate high school, let alone I'm not going to college. And she tells me, she says, "Ruben, it's a disservice to your friends, it's a disservice to your family, and it's a disservice to the world. You are too bright not to go to college." So I took her advice. 3 days before AIM started, I got enrolled in some classes. So that year, I would just be trying to get to the next summer, to the next conference. I took couple classes, philosophy class, some psychology classes. It was whatever. But again, now we're back at the conference, and I get something out of it. I'm 10 times better of a mentor. I'm 10 times better of a peer. I'm actually able to challenge these people, because the year before, I felt a little out of place. These were people going to Harvard. They were going to DU. They were going to Boulder. They were going to Wyoming. For me, I'd only seen these places on TV. I didn't think it was something you actually did. But now I was with these people, and this time I was able to hang with them. I was able to talk with them. We were able to challenge each other's beliefs. And that's where I learned where my passion was. I had a passion for kids. I wanted to work with kids. I wanted to be with kids. I wanted to challenge them. I wanted to provoke their thought. Looking back now, I think that part of the reason that I wanted to do that was because I felt like that's kind of what I needed. Like, if I was younger and someone could have done that, just challenge me in different ways and been there 100% of the time, that maybe things wouldn't have looked as gloomy as they did toward the end. But again, things were just clicking into place. While I was at Ames and working at this 9-to-5 job at King Soopers, I had met this girl, and she went to UNC. Her uncle was a doctor, her mom was a nurse, and I went to Ames Community College. So I thought it would be impressive if I went to UNC, so I transferred. We would go on to get married later, but that's a whole different story. So now, again, fast forwarding, we're going to take my cornerstone from my mom, the love that she always gave us, the sacrifices she made, and I'm going to take my dad's foundation. I'm going to take that hard work ethic, that go out and do whatever it takes, and I'm going to put those together. I'm going to take those peers that I met at Ryla, and I'm going to put them in to this culmination of things. And then I'm going to take my passion. I'm going to take that I want to work with kids attitude, and I'm somehow going to put that on the job market. Luckily, something hits, and I remember, again, talking to another Ryla counselor, and she quoted me. She said, "Ruben, you know what? They say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life." Guys, I have the best job in the world. I work at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Wells County as a unit director on First Ave, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I love the hell out of my job. Everything that I do is exciting. everything that the kids do, sometimes you just shake your head and you're like, what are you guys thinking? Like, so every day is different though. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's fun. It can be hard. Oh, my throat's all scratchy, sorry. It can be hard because, again, kids grow up in different circumstances, and sometimes the kid's not there for a week, they're not there for a month, they're not there for a year. You don't know when they're coming back. Sometimes their parents just make bad decisions, and you question it, and you say, if I was a parent, like, I wouldn't do that. But sometimes it's easy because you'll challenge their thought, you'll provoke them, and they'll rise to the occasion. They'll come quick at it. They'll do whatever it takes to be better than before. And sometimes it's confusing because, again, you just shake your head and you're like, man, why no, stop, please. But a lot of people get my success mixed up. They think that I'm successful because I have a house, or they think I'm successful because I have a job. They think I'm successful because I have a family who cares about me. And that's not what makes me successful. What makes me successful is that I'm happy I am married. I found the love of my life, and I'm happy for that. I'm happy to go to work every day. That makes me happy. I'm happy to go spend time with my family. That's what makes me happy. That's what makes me a successful person, that I get to be happy in my life. But I know none of that would be possible without my mom, because my mom had to sacrifice everything. Her childhood, her young adulthood, even now, she still has to sacrifice for me. And I understand that. When I was younger, though, I didn't. And so I just wanted to say thank you to my mom, and I love you. Everyone have a good night.